Hi, good afternoon to everyone. And thank you so much for joining us in this Tuesday webinar series on homegrown franchisees. And thank you once again for making your time for this webinar. And my name is Ramkumar Krishnamurthy, and I'm a business consultant. And I've been working primarily in the area of downstream distribution in the last about 30 years. And I have been associated with large organizations who have been extremely successful in creating a franchisee business, and which had made a huge change as far as our target customers were concerned. And today I'll be joined by Dr. Babu and Mohammed Sanas. And before that, I just want to share with you a glimpse of what I see basically as a franchisee business from everyone's perspective. Thank you. And if you look at the concept of franchising, they say it is as early as the 19th century. The beer manufacturers in Germany were the first one to actually, try out this concept of franchising with the tavern owners to sell their beer exclusively in their taverns. And we really don't know where they really went from their efforts, but it is the first recorded attempt in terms of franchising as a way of business. And subsequently, in 1731, we have the most notable Benjamin Franklin entering into a franchising agreement with Thomas Whitmarsh for basically the business of printing. And the third great example is that of Martha Harper in 1891, where she was able to successfully franchise her salons to over 500 points, including providing not only the branded products but also training to the concerned people. And it was followed lastly by Roy Halland, who opened his first root beer stand. And root beer became a very, very, very popular, franchised brand, which started actually the boom in the F&B segment from the United States. And if you look at the number of segments today that exist in terms of franchising opportunities, it is food, education, entertainment, retail, beauty and healthcare, waste management, business services, coffee franchisees, and restaurant franchisees. And of late today, if you look at it, governments today franchise some of their initiatives to specific skill sets of people. For instance, we look at the government of India today, they have massively launched a skill building mission through the franchising route. Now, if you look at the advantages and disadvantages of being in a franchisee business, the advantage is definitely a lower operating cost. And what is going to be a game changer is your local knowledge of your demography. And you can rapidly expand your business. Branding plays a very critical role, training and technical know-how. And it involves a less risk for a franchisee because it is basically a participative business. So the risk exposure is fairly reduced compared to if you had to do it on your own. And of course, today with the last 20 years, you see, I also have easy access to capital. But if you look at the flip side of it, limited exit strategy, primarily because you have already cocooned yourself into a certain level of a business. And of course, the parent company holds the final say in most of the business decisions. And you definitely need to share your percentage of your profit with your parent company. Now, some of the facts, I'm really looking at India today because it's becoming a extremely critical crucible from the point of view of various factors which have seen in the last 10 years, moving from a very sedentary economy to a very robust economy. If you look at it, India is already the second largest franchisee market in the world after US, with almost 4,600 active franchisors. And in this, 50% are regional brands, which endorses the fact that homegrown franchisees today are having a large say in this business. And the industry is estimated to reach about 50.4 billion and a fourfold growth since 2013. And they say probably by 2024, it will reach even 100 billion. And today, if you look at it, if you look at the massive expansion in terms of the outlets done operating on the franchisee model, it's almost 200,000, operated by 170,000 franchisees. So this reinforces the fact that the homegrown franchisee business is there to stay, and it will start acquiring a very different dimension in terms of its size in the years to come. Now, with this, I'd like to thank you for giving me an opportunity to present this presentation. And I would like to welcome Dr. Babu, who is managing director of I welcome Dr. R.M.A.Babu, managing director of BB Holdings, who has a personal experience in terms of almost 2 decades of experience in building, homegrown brands, primarily not only in the Middle East, but also in India, and who has been able to run very successful operation both in the F&B business as well as in the healthcare business. Now, I invite Dr. Babu to share his thoughts with all of you. Okay, welcome, Dr. Babu.
Thank you so much, Ramkumar Muthi, Mr. Muthi. And today, I will be speaking on basically the Middle East, focusing on Middle East markets, where homegrown franchises has grown to a level in par with international franchises. So when you talk about homegrown franchise market in the Middle East, probably the Gulf countries have grown to an extent where it has grown more than the international brands in the homegrown countries like U.A.E, Saudi. These are big markets. Like when you talk about in terms of numbers, basically KFC has got probably 365 brands, outlets, and McDonald's has got, the KFC has got around 700 outlets, and McDonald's has got around 400 outlets. So these are the two giants who operates, the largest international franchises present in this market. While, it's very interesting, last 2 decades, how the homegrown brands have come into place. So when we talk about homegrown brands, see, when during 2000 early 2000s or 2005, the governments in this region started the franchise, especially the SMEs, promoting the franchise units across franchise services, including Dubai Chamber of Commerce, and Saudi Chamber of Commerce, getting into the role of getting awareness, within the franchise market. So, uh, the public and the private sectors, they started, like, creating awareness among the local brands which are successful to go franchising, like, organizing franchise shows, franchise events, and franchise seminars and webinars. You know, this kind of awareness has created, a big shift in the entire homegrown brand industry, franchise industry. Basically, if you take it, the numbers of trademark registrations in U.A.E alone, 5 years before, it was just, that's in 2015, the total trademarks registered was 65,000, and 2021 it is like 400,000. So that means people are, planning their entrepreneurship in the initial level to go on a growth model, either by franchising or through any licensing models, basically. So this what do you call, this phenomenon is an ongoing phenomenon, and U.A.E, the government, I think, is within the World Franchise Council, with the Abu Dhabi Chamber of Commerce getting into the World Franchise Council and taking the leadership of the whole, global platform of franchise industry. So now, within this brands, let's say, uh, before, any investors' choices would be, initially, when they go to investment platform of franchise industry, it was westernized brands which was dominating earlier. But now the trends have changed drastically, where, the investors are also, pitching on to homegrown brands because of three factors. These factors are very important factors where any franchise system should have. Means the homegrown brands also is running on a very good operating platform. Means the franchise operating systems and franchise development systems, and basically the franchise support systems, where investors are available, the brands are available for investors in terms of local reach, and, you know the decision making of investor determines uh, on the functionalities of the brand. So this way, in last 5 to 10 years, most of the institutional investors and private investors have have taken up and grown this homegrown brands into next level. So meaning, it's not very easy market for any international brands to come to these markets and take on these brands, because the level of customization, as we see, is much bigger and highly localized within the local brands. And homegrown brands to come into play, like, when into the industries, what they represent is, like, number one is food and beverage industry, which accounts for 60 to 70 percentage. The education and the retail industry is, probably the, it's like 30 to 25 to 30 percentage. So why F&B is getting so much of importance in homegrown brands? The customization level is so what do you call, calculative, in terms of recipes which they serve, is highly customized to the, what do you call, the customers. If it's an Emirati brand, they do the best of the Emirati foods with Emirati flavors. Say, you can talk about Lebanese flavors, Saudi brands, which has got, very good. It's a big food market, basically. So when you talk about the customization, these brands also, homegrown brands also look into the depth of what you call highly local available resources and supplies, and they are very consistent in supporting the entire system. So when you talk about international franchises and failures here, probably they cannot scale up to that level of homegrown franchises. And the future of what do you call homegrown franchises are based on, the foundation which those brands have built. For example, I would like to mention a few brands. For example, Adnoc retail fuel stores. It was a wonder. In last 10 years, they have grown into 400 outlets, rather than with an F&B model built in called as Adnoc Oasis. Another brand in U.A.E which is creating big time network is Zoom retail stores. So this Zoom retail stores say is a is the, I think around 250 to 300 outlets right now, and growing, and every nook and corner, because it's a very tough play to 7-Eleven to come and play with this in this market in Dubai right now, because Zoom is taken over, captured around probably 40 to 50% of that segment. So homegrown brands is what do you call as a tough competitor to international brands. And in future, what advantages and what disadvantages this homegrown brands are going to take is the investors mindset towards the brands. So now engaging financial funding to a brand, basically, if you want to invest in a local brand, then take the brand to a global level. So, for example, Chicken, initially in 2005, it was only 10 outlets. But in last 15 years, they've gone to 35 countries with around nearly 235 outlets. I think that's the only brand which is having the spread across the globe from the region. So similarly, some brands which are very strong presence, like when you talk about uh, Albake has given a very good, tough competition to KFC in Saudi region. So overall, what I would like to say is, the homegrown brands are going to sustain by itself with the local support and the local economy growing, providing local employment and local, what do you call, local growth for the franchise market. So now the global market, franchise market, what do you call, dilating towards the regional markets, and regional markets to specific area markets. So now a brand, when you roll out a brand, they think about, okay, I will do 50 outlets in this region alone, and I will stay for this. So this is the mindset of investors, or entrepreneurs, franchise entrepreneurs right now. Or maybe some brands say, I will stay within GCC, I'm not going to expand anymore, I will have 100 outlets. So this kind of strategies are evolving between the entrepreneurs come investors. That's why they are going success. So I think next few years, probably we can see wonders happening in this industry, and it's very, very what do you call, crucial, where the government support is needed, and it will start contributing to the local economy on a large scale basis. So thank you so much, Ram, for giving this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Dr. Babu, and sharing your insights as far as your own experience is concerned. And I think it will be quite valuable, okay, as an input to most of the people who are watching this. Now, I would like to welcome Mr. Mohammed Sanas, Director of Imaco Investments. And Sanas, is a young entrepreneur who has worked very diligently to build his family's franchisee business, and it would be a pleasure for me to call him to share his insights on his own experience building a brand. Yeah. And here it is, Mr. Sanas, for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ram and Dr. Babu, and having me on this platform. Hope all doing good. Like Mr. Ram said, I joined the family business in the year 2010, which actually was built my father-in-law in the year 1969, which we started as a single individual store in U.A.E. those days. We grown, inshallah, pretty well in different countries. The number of outlets has grown from 1 to almost 45 outlets, different part of the world. As you all know, we are from the Middle East, in the U.A.E. especially market. Those days, the system was a totally different way, the way which we run the supermarket or the retail outlets. We compare like 40 years back and what is happening at the moment in the current market. So in 2010, what we focused when the new generation of management has joined, and what we focused on rebranding it. Rebranding in the sense the whole system, like right from the macro to micro level, the whole system has been rebranded. The complete operation system, how we do our procurement, how we place our product, how we approach our customer, the whole system has been changed. So this is demanded by the market. As you know, in the other part of the world, it has been changed. Along, we are also adapting all the changes, whatever required on those days and those times. So we were playing along with the global market, the changes required, because customer knows very well what he required. Because people are not like before; they're traveling around the world. They're experiencing different shopping experience. So we are also should know the changes, what's going around, and we should adapt those changes. Otherwise, we cannot sustain in the market. So, like I said, in those days, we did a rebranding, and then later on, we stepped into a model of converting the retail segment in different sectors. We have large supermarkets, hypermarkets, and the mini marts. It's called a convenience store. In 2014, we come up with a new concept called the F-Mart convenience store. It's much more a compact model, like Mr. Dr. Babu mentioned in his speech, like Zoom, Oasis. Those are the models which we developed in 2014. In 2007, in 3 year time, we developed almost 10 outlets, and we totally have a total change in the whole system, even the shop, the feel of the customer, how they experience in their stores, what are the products. Because especially when we are in the region of U.A.E, we have to focus on the products which is fast moving in in the 10 million population, 1.2 million the local population, and the remaining are the expats. So we should accommodate all those products which serving different nationality. So we need to source from the different countries, different suppliers to fill in our stores. It shouldn't be availability for everyone. So even nobody can fulfill the 100%. Still, we try to actually reach 90-95 percentage of the fulfillment of the different range of products. At least, if not the similar product, we try to bring in which will replace, or which can be similar to those range of products or the brands which satisfy the customers. So first thing, we focus on the availability of the product, then focusing on, it also depend on area wise, each area. And if you take each country, if you go from north to south, if each area has a different taste and choice of product. So as per the locality, we started placing the products as per the community living over there. What are the products required in those areas? Maybe if a large community of Asians are living, we serve the most of the Asians. If a community living more Europeans, we try to focus on those products. So we were being very specific in our brand, what are the products should be available, and it should serve all the customers within the market. So this give us an add-on and differentiate from other segment of other competitors. The product categorization. So nowadays everyone is following the same. Those days this was not there, and nowadays every competitor are focusing on those things and they are imitating the similar concept. Apart from the programming, we did is like the customer satisfaction. It's just we focused not on a macro level. We did a micro level system in the customer, even how to hand over a bag. How to do the packing. If you Everyone must be knowing if you're doing a packing, a non-food item should not be packed with the frozen items or not with the detergent items. These areas which we've been keen and we've been focusing and we've been giving strict training for the staffs how to handle the product handover. Like I'm just talking about one thing. So like this, each and every area, if you go to the HR section or the procurement or every level, we did a macro level management. On this data which we collected, we formed our what you call operation manuals, which give an in-depth insight of how to replicate this particular brand in any part of the world. Or if a franchisee is taking up not just the franchisor is getting benefited, the franchisee, we are going in joint hand. Like every party in the link has to be benefited, not just the franchisor enjoy all the benefit or the franchisee. Everyone, even the staff or the franchisor or the franchisee, everyone should get benefited in the whole system. That's how we developed our whole system of franchisee model, and we stepped into other market like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Malaysia. And then share all these success things by some bitten by some other things also. Like if I say about Malaysian market, we step into Malaysian market, but the whole concept was different over there. We were trying to play much more halal concept over there, like which we since we are from the Middle Eastern region, like so we were trying to do a halal format store in Malaysian region, but that was not a successful story for us because you cannot be specific on a particular choice of people, see, because you cannot target especially in a retail supermarket chain. I cannot focus on a very minimal audience. I have to serve the whole audience. Then only it will be a successful model. So we are reworking on the whole program. Like we are converting to like the similar stores what we running in those regions, because we have a tough competition from those local region franchise models as well as the local individual entrepreneur outlets. So we are reworking on those models. So, like earlier, the Ram and Mr. Babu said, region. When we go step into a particular region, understand the region, understand the strength and weakness of those region, and we have to play around accordingly. Then only you can sustain in each region. Before you step into the market, I personally suggest at least a 6 month to 1 year study has to be done on that particular market. If you are not an expertise, join hand with the expertise on those areas, on those particular regional location, then step forward further expansion. Because as an investors, they always be looking at the bottom line at the end of the day, whatever like programs we developing. So we have to satisfy every every individual in the loop. So this is how we program our system. So now after that, we are stepping into many other F&B sectors also. Now we are incorporating a kind of mini coffee shop outlet within the retail segment that give a experience for the customers. How while they're shopping, they have a section of coffee area which they can have their coffee, have some buy some snacks from there, and we have developed different models. Like I said, if the like if you need a outlet within a tower which is more of residence, have to do a outlet in a way that the outlet serve the residence customer. If I am setting up an outlet in an office tower, I have to develop a outlet in a way, and the product has to be in a way like it should serve the customers which is coming and going in those office towers, especially employees working from morning 9 to maybe I'll be serving morning coffees, croissants, all this stuff along with the takeaway stuff. I won't be much focusing on meat and other vegetables and food section because we don't focus much on that. So we have a record of what are the our inventory stream and very strong in the each outlet. What are the products moving fast and which are the products slow moving. So it's a complete IT integrated program we are doing. So we know the inventory system, how the inventories are moving up and down, how long the products are lying on the shelf, how fast these products are repeat orders are coming. These all are tracked with the proper inventory system and an IT backup. So it's a incorporation of all together. So this knowledge can be obtained only experience in each region. So if you go to one market, one country, that market, that country has to be studied very well. Then only you know the data. The data is the key. Always I talk to my subordinates. The data is the key to, and to predict the future, and that's how we develop our store and the whole system. Other things, training, this thing all can be done and we can give the best. But the data, what you have about your store, the moment, the sale, the wastage, or whatever it is, has to be accurate. Even the what you call standardization of the safety things and other things, shelf life. We cannot place all the products for a long time. These all are incorporated in our SOP system. This knowledge is gained from what you call from the years of experience from a particular market. So as much experience you gain from each market, you can develop the brand very well and you can do your brand much better each and every day. So that's how we develop the whole concept. So like we are planning to expand further more outlets in other countries. Like we said, we stepped in Saudi, Qatar and all. Now we are operating around 10 outlets in each country. So we are planning to expand another 10, 15 outlets each year. So that's the story of our group, and hope this will be some information for you guys and it help. If you have any other things to be asked furthermore, you can shoot up the questions. I'm ready to answer those things. Thanks, Mr. Ram and Dr. Babu.
Thank you so much, Mr. Saras. Yeah. We are open to questions now,
Thank
and
you.
you may please send your questions via the chat. And if there are no questions, then I'd like to thank you once again for being with us on this Tuesday webinar. And I'm extremely happy to, bring out another topic in the same series on Tuesday webinar, that is bringing a franchisee brand to the GCC region, and which I'm sure will pick a lot of interest as far as you are concerned. And I would like to request you to mark your calendar for the next edition on bringing a franchisee brand to the GCC region. So thanks to every one of you for spending your valuable time with us, and all the very best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ram. Thanks very much for being.